Imagine dropping $5 million on a painting, only to find out it was completely fake. Not just fake, painted in a garage in Queens by a guy with no formal training. Framed in gold, hung in a luxury penthouse. Validated by top-tier experts. Totally worthless. And the worst part? There's nothing you can do about it. This wasn't a sloppy scam. It was a high-stakes, multi-decade con that tricked billionaires, duped prestigious galleries, and exposed one brutal truth. In the art world, price means nothing. Hype means everything. And the craziest part? It all started with one man, a paintbrush, and a lie. Between 1995 and 2009, a small New York gallery called Knoedler Company sold over $80 million worth of newly discovered masterpieces. We're talking Rothkos, Pollocks, Motherwells, abstract expressionist legends. No one questioned it. Knoedler was one of the most respected galleries in the U.S., backed by 165 years of reputation and run by elite curators. Rich collectors lined up, writing 6- and 7-figure checks for pieces they thought were historic. The gallery even showed letters from supposed art dealers and collectors confirming the work's authenticity. But behind the velvet ropes and champagne toasts, everything was fake. Every single piece. Because the gallery's secret supplier, a quiet woman named Glafira Rosales, was selling fakes painted by a man in a garage in Queens. His name? Pei Shen Qian, an immigrant artist who'd never sold more than a few small works before. Now he was replicating Pollocks and de Kooning so perfectly that even experts couldn't tell. Rosales fed the gallery a story. She had a wealthy, anonymous client with a secret stash of forgotten masterpieces, works purchased directly from the artists, never seen by the public. No photos, no records, just trust. And Knoedler bought it, literally and figuratively. They paid Rosales millions. She paid Qian a few thousand per piece. The markup was astronomical, but no one questioned it, because everyone involved was making money. Buyers were thrilled. The gallery was booming. And Qian? He was quietly painting the past into existence. This is the story of how greed, trust, and a little bit of paint created one of the most convincing cons of the 21st century. We are going inside the operation to see exactly how these fakes passed every test, fooled the best experts in the world, and made everyone believe the impossible. Let's go back to the painter, Pei Shen Qian. He lived in a modest house in Queens. No big studio, no team of assistants, just a quiet man in his 60s painting alone in his garage. He wasn't trying to scam anyone, at least not at first. He was just really, really good at mimicking styles. Give him a Pollock, he could match the chaos. A Rothko? He'd recreate the mood. A de Kooning? He'd nail the brushwork. Rosales approached him with a simple ask. Can you do one like this? And he did, over and over again. But this wasn't just some YouTube tutorial. The fakes Qian made were meticulous. He'd buy old canvases at flea markets, use antique nails and staples, mix his own pigments, even stain the back of the canvas with tea and dirt to give it that authentic, aged look. And the best part? The art world never suspected a thing. Because the scam played into its deepest weakness, ego. Collectors wanted to believe they'd found a lost Rothko. They wanted to believe they'd uncovered a masterpiece no one else had ever seen. Rosales and Knoedler understood that psychology perfectly. They didn't oversell. They whispered, "This piece isn't public yet. The owner is private, but if you're serious, we can show you." It made buyers feel chosen, elite, inside the club. And once the money changed hands, no one wanted to admit they'd been duped. That's why Knoedler never got caught, not for over a decade. Even as more and more newly discovered masterpieces were revealed, collectors kept quiet. Why? Because in the art world, reputation is everything. Admitting you got scammed meant admitting you weren't as smart, savvy, or connected as everyone thought. And Knoedler's reputation kept the con alive. They used their brand as armor. No way Knoedler would sell a fake, buyers told themselves. Even when red flags popped up, like the fact that none of the pieces had any provenance, no sales history, no photos, no record of existence, people brushed it off. Sometimes lost art resurfaces, they said. And the gallery was all too happy to agree. But as the fakes piled up and the money flowed in, one buyer finally did what no one else dared to. They sued. The buyer who blew the lid off everything? His name was Domenico De Sole, chairman of Tom Ford, former CEO of Gucci. This wasn't some anonymous collector. This was a heavyweight, and he was pissed. He and his wife bought a Mark Rothko from Knoedler in 2004 for $8.3 million. At first, it felt like a score. The brushwork, the color field, it looked perfect. The gallery vouched for it. And the story? Straight out of a dream, from a secret Swiss vault, part of a never-before-seen private collection. The Dessauls believed it, until one day they tried to resell it, and that's when everything unraveled. The experts started poking around. No documentation, no history. The signature off. And worse, a forensic scientist tested the paint and found something Rothko couldn't have used, a pigment that didn't exist until decades after his death. The Dessauls were furious, and unlike others, they refused to stay silent. They filed a blockbuster lawsuit, dragging the Knoedler Gallery and its director, Anne Friedman, into the spotlight. Now everything came under the microscope, and the art world freaked out, because it wasn't just one fake. Investigators found more than 60 forgeries, all sold through Knoedler over a 15-year stretch, and the total haul, over $80 million. The courtroom was packed with lawyers, reporters, art historians, and angry millionaires. The gallery's defense? They played dumb. Anne Friedman, the director, claimed she had no idea. She said she truly believed the works were real, that she'd shown them to experts, that she was fooled just like everyone else. But emails and documents told a different story. Behind the scenes, experts had raised concerns. Some even told her flat out, "This looks fake." But those opinions were conveniently ignored or never disclosed to buyers. In court, Friedman tried to paint herself as a victim, but the jury didn't buy it. Neither did the Dessauls. As the case unfolded, the scam's architecture came into focus. A lone artist in Queens, a charming middlewoman, a prestigious gallery turning whispers into million-dollar deals. It was a perfect storm of talent, greed, and ego. But here's the twist. Even as the courtroom drama played out and Knoedler shut down, no one went to jail. Not yet. So what happened to the people behind the scam? Let's start with Glafira Rosales, the mysterious woman who brought all the paintings to Knoedler. Turns out she was the linchpin of the whole operation. She finally confessed. Every Rothko, every Pollock, every Motherwell she brought in was fake. There was no mysterious collector, no Swiss vault, no secret stash from a Nazi escape route. She made it all up. And the artist? A Chinese immigrant named Pei Shan-Qian living in Queens. He was a talented painter who used to sell his work on the street for $100. Glafira paid him a few thousand per piece and sold them for millions. Qian never knew how deep it went. He thought he was just making replicas, but when the FBI showed up, he panicked and fled the country to China. To this day, he's never been extradited. He's still there, free. Glafira? She pled guilty to wire fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. But guess what? She served 0 jail time. Just probation and a fine. Why? Because she cooperated with the feds and helped them build their case. And the Knoedler Gallery? They shut down in disgrace. But not before collecting tens of millions in sales. Many buyers never got their money back. Some quietly settled. Others didn't want the bad press. The art world hates lawsuits. They ruin the illusion of prestige. As for Anne Friedman, the gallery's director, she walked away. She claimed she was duped, wrote essays defending her actions, and even tried to sell the fake art again as Pei Shan-Qian originals. Yes, you heard that right. She flipped the scam on its head. These are now part of art history, she said. They're collectible because of the story, and people actually bought them. Because in the art world, sometimes the myth is more valuable than the masterpiece. The scam became a brand, and the brand made money all over again. Think about that. A $200 canvas painted in a garage in Queens gets flipped for $8 million. Then when it's revealed as a fake, it gets flipped again as a famous forgery. Only in the art world does getting caught increase the value. But there's still one more twist. And it's the part that makes this more than just an art story. Here's the truth most people miss. This scam didn't work because the forgeries were flawless. It worked because no one wanted to look too closely. Because if you're a billionaire, and someone tells you a long-lost Rothko just surfaced, you want to believe it's real. Not because of the art dot, because of the status. Owning a masterpiece makes you look smart, powerful, connected, like you're on the inside of a secret club. And questioning it? That would make you look dumb, so nobody does. Even worse, if you're the first to doubt it and it turns out to be real, you're the guy who passed on an $80 million painting. So everyone just nods. The galleries pretend to vet. The buyers pretend to understand. And the market keeps moving, powered by handshakes, gut feelings, and glossy catalogs. It's not a market of truth. It's a market of belief. And that's why this scam hit so hard. Because it didn't just expose fake paintings. It exposed the illusion the whole market is built on. That prices reflect quality. That value reflects truth. that the experts know what they're talking about. But once you realize a guy in Queens with no training can paint a Pollock in his garage and fool the world, that illusion shatters. And the moment the illusion breaks, so does the value. That's why the art world wanted this story buried. Because if a $200 fake can sell for $8 million, what does that say about the real ones? It's not just art, it's crypto. It's NFTs. It's AI startups with no product. It's finance bros selling dreams. It's hype with a price tag. And no breaks. In every scam like this, there's a bigger truth. When value is based on trust, and trust is based on vibes, it only takes one lie to break everything. This was the $80 million scam that showed us the truth. The richest people in the world don't buy facts. They buy stories. And when the story is good enough, they'll beg to be lied to. This is Midnight Watch. Subscribe if you want more true stories that peel back the mask on power, wealth, and why we believe the unbelievable. See you in the next one.